Everybody having a good time? Our final guest for this Friday football is a staple with FanDuel Sports Network North, specifically with the Twins and the Minnesota Wild. Can we get a witness? And a raucous round of applause for a dear friend of mine for quite some time. Ladies and gentlemen, Audra Martin.
Hello, Elk River.
What's going on, Audra Martin?
Thank you guys for having me.
Great to see you. And
see you always.
And you know what? When we were texting this week, you're like, I'm gonna be in Elk River. I know, right? I'm like, well, I mean, you got to come on the radio. So here we are at about 11:10 with a bevy of things to talk about. But you show up in this Minnesota Viking shirt.
I was prepared for you.
You had to have bought that within last 5 days.
Absolutely not. Are you kidding?
Really? Okay.
Stacked with Viking gear.
I'm not trying to flood at Audra_Martin via the X machine.
I had to think about it. I think that's my handle, isn't it?
With hate and stuff like that. But I mean, I've never known you to be, and if you're not a Vikings fan, it's okay. Because aren't you from Chicago or Illinois?
Yeah, I'm from Chicago, but let me tell you, never once in my life have I ever been a Bears fan. Ever.
How about that?
Let's
double down on it.
So one of my best friends is here. Unfortunately, Tony, I'm going to call you out. He is also from the Chicago area.
What up,
he is
Tony?
a Bears fan, but also, I know. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
I think he actually is secretly a huge Vikings fan.
Are you? All down, Chicago Bears. Yeah, you know what? His team's probably going to be 6-3 after this weekend, so we should probably
love you, Tony.
Take it.
Sorry to call you
well,
out.
then, I mean, you're an elite sports mind. So, therefore, if you're from the Chicago area, not a Bears fan, high level of appreciation for the Minnesota Vikings.
Bulls.
What do you think of the Green Bay Packers, Audra Martin?
Well, okay, being from Chicago, even though I was not a Bears fan, really, really strong dislike for the
Look at that.
Packers.
That girl's firing bullets right now.
Sorry. I didn't need to love the Bears to know that I don't like the Packers. And again, my best girlfriend, Lindsay Hayes, who you know, is a huge Packers fan. So we have gone to Packers and Vikings games together. And we have a real hard time sitting next to each other. It's real tough when your best friend is one way and I'm this way. Ugh. You know how it is? You know, it's like the house divided.
Yeah.
Love you, girl, but not right now.
Alec Lewis, the Athletic, Audra Martin, Alec Lewis. We've reconfigured the feast. Charge moved to Utah. So we got Alec in the mix thanks to Steve's Appliances and stevesappliances.com. Matt Producer's in the mix, and here's Audra, guys.
Talk about some baseball.
You want to talk baseball?
I don't know. Do you?
She covers baseball and knows a lot about the team.
I covered the Kansas City Royals for 3 years.
Okay.
So I'm somewhat familiar.
Yeah.
The Twins just hired a manager.
Yeah.
Shelton.
And my boy, LaTroy Hawkins. Come on.
Isn't he like Patrick Mahomes?
Yeah.
Godfather.
Yeah.
Oh, he is?
Yeah.
It's Godfather.
Yeah.
Wow.
So, Derek Shelton.
Yeah.
Your thoughts?
Y'all, I'm pumped. Now, that is selfishly because I have worked with Derek Shelton in the past. So it makes my job that much easier to have that familiarity. You guys all know what it's like when you have to talk to a manager when times are tough. When you have a good relationship with said manager, it makes your job a little easier. You know, Derek Shelton is in a tough position. There's no denying that. You guys know I'm a homer. I love the Twins. He's in a tough spot. He was in a tough spot in Pittsburgh. I don't think that anybody really would have gone into Pittsburgh and had immediate success given what the situation was in Pittsburgh. He's coming to the Twins, not an easy situation, but Derek Shelton is a brilliant baseball mind. There's a reason that he has always been in the conversation for managerial positions. And you look at, his track record being part of the Yankees organization, going to Cleveland. That comes with a lot of clout, and I am really, really excited to see what he will do now having learned maybe not what to do. I think everybody, I don't care what job you have, right? You learn from your mistakes. You learn from adversity. It makes you better, and I'm really excited to see what Derek Shelton will do given what he has gone through in the past and the familiarity with the organization and a clean slate. And whatever people's expectations are, let's say he knocks it out of the park. How exciting is that going to be for somebody who is given an opportunity to have a second shot and do well with it? I think it's going to be great. So I'm excited. LaTroy, I just was texting with LaTroy about it. I'm pumped. I'm already looking forward to March.
I should have asked you about Dan Hayes and Aaron Gleeman before I asked you about Derek Shelton. Really. I mean, those
are my boys.
Those two, I mean, you gotta
Watch out.
yeah, those two are.
So speaking of baseball, can I tell you guys a story? PA, can we talk about Denver? Mm-hmm. So there are certain ballparks, right, where I'm like sitting in the camera well.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm not close to the fans.
Yeah.
Like, removed. Well, in Denver, and that was the first time I'd ever worked a game in Denver.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there, and all of a sudden I hear somebody come up behind me and is like, I don't even remember what you said.
At
and
Coors Field.
I didn't know it was PA, but you said something
You
like,
blew me off.
This field.
I literally, all I hear is somebody, Audra, and I'm like, oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
It's not like I
And
went,
then
hey,
I turned around
Blondie.
and it was you. And I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You threw me off so hard.
I understand. You were working. So I went back to my seat, which had to walk all the way up to the top.
Never in a
Actually,
million years
5 rows
did I
behind
think
you.
that I would see you in Denver.
Right, I understand that.
Why were you at
baseball
Coors Field?
Daughter lives in Denver,
Okay.
had just graduated from Colorado, helping her get squared away from Boulder to Denver.
You
That
just
move.
graduated from Colorado?
She did.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I thought I knew the Twins were in town, and so therefore I thought I'd surprise my dear old friend, and she basically had no time for your boy.
I didn't know. Like,
I know.
Sometimes fans
That's
come
okay.
up and say stuff that's not nice.
Yeah, that's okay.
And it's not what I want to hear. And I don't remember what you said, but I just was like, ugh.
Yeah.
Here we go.
See, that ballpark, that
excited.
ballpark is surrounded by a bunch of dispensaries. So I had to climb through a bunch of Walking
Now we're
Dead
talking.
zombies just to get to her in the camera well. So I was a little flustered myself.
Made my day. Absolutely made my day.
Well, as baseball would go, and Alec, like he said, he's covering Locaine and the Kansas City Royals for 3 years. And you've been on the Twins beat quite some time. How long?
Oh my gosh, this is going to be
Decade?
my 11th
11.
season.
Wow.
Isn't that crazy? Y'all, I just feel like I moved here. What? Like, to me, it feels like it was 3 years ago. We were talking about this in the commercial break. The last time I was on a Friday football feast was my first year, and PA was kind enough to invite me to come down to Mystic Lake, and it was me, you, and Church. And PA, bless your heart, because I was new and I was taking over for Jamie Hirsch, and I felt like I couldn't even fill her shoes. I was so insecure and terrified of this new opportunity. And PA's like, come on my show, give the fans a chance to get to know you. And I have never forgotten how kind you were to me at the very beginning. And so I appreciate you. And then we did the Vox in the Box and stuff,
With Rachel Ramsey. Yeah, pronger with a ponytail.
Pronger with a
well,
ponytail.
Correct me if I'm wrong here. And there are certain jobs that all jobs can be different. Certain jobs can be difficult. That is more difficult than others. That baseball grind, when you're covering baseball, whether you're sideline analyst, sideline reporter like Audra, or your beat writer like Alec, is it tough? The grind that can be baseball.
Yeah, tell me if you agree with this. I think the craziest thing about baseball season is that the beginning flies by and you're like, oh my gosh, all of a sudden we're at the end of May. And then July hits and you're like, oh my God, it's only July. We still have so much more to go. And this is even like, I mean, I covered the Bomba Squad, right? Which was like one of the most exciting baseball seasons to ever be a part of. But even that season, July rolls around, you're like, and then all of a sudden you blink and it's September 20th and you're like, oh my God, we have 10 days left. It's the weirdest. It is a grind, but you blink and suddenly it's over.
You see those people every day too.
Yeah.
It's actually kind of like silly. It's like I talked to the manager 3 times a day. I talked to you 3 times yesterday. Haven't even talked to my parents 3 times in a week. Like baseball is honestly, for the people who do baseball day in, day out, every year, that takes a different level of commitment, frankly. Like, it just does. It's
very different. And I think back to my time in Tennessee covering the Titans, and I used to get really excited to go on road trips. But it's like, I also was kind of bummed because you're only there for like a day, you know, you can't really take advantage of it. Well, then the flip side to baseball is suddenly you're on a 3-city road trip and you wake up in San Francisco and you think that you're in Kansas City and your timing is all off. And I'm like, oh, wait a minute, I'm in San Francisco. I got to leave right now. And you don't know where you are. And then like me, I had a hard time getting into my hotel room a couple weeks ago because I was using my Starbucks gift card to try to get into the hotel. And I was like, oh, that's wrong. And then I was like, oh, and then on top of it, I wasn't even at the right room. I was getting into the hotel room number of the city that I was in previously.
Are you okay now?
I should just start over. I should just go to bed and try again tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
It is a grind, right? You kind of become delirious because it just is a lot.
Well, you were talking about it with me off air, though, is that it does have that midsummer slog, but then when it's gone, you kind of miss it.
Yeah.
Like, I can just tell, I mean, even as you've talked about it here on air, I'm sure they can tell it as well. Like, you love what you freaking do.
I literally already cannot wait for March. Are there Twins fans here right now? Do we have, I know Vikings, right? But I literally, as much of a grind and as difficult as this season was for a multitude of reasons, I literally cannot wait for March.
And March. What about the hockey team? I mean, they're in play right now.
I know, and I know you guys know that I haven't been around, but I will be back on air for Wild Live in a couple weeks. I'm very excited.
Well, maybe that's why it's been a struggle.
I was going to say, what is the difference right now? They're having a tough time. Maybe I'm a good luck charm. What happens if I go back to work in a couple weeks and they rattle off like 16 wins in a row? I feel like I get like a finder's fee or something, right?
Yeah,
Can I get like 10% of ticket sales or something?
Goaltending.
Sure. I'm ready.
Even strength goals
Tough
go up, the whole thing.
Tough economy for all of us. I take it.
But I am. It's been tough. I really, really miss my hockey people. I miss the game and the excitement. There is nothing, let's be honest. I love baseball, but playoff hockey, there's nothing like it, right? And so there's the dog days of the hockey season. And when things aren't going well, it's tough. But I cannot wait to get back. It's been tough. It's been hard to be away. But now we're only like a couple weeks out. And we'll be back, and it will be awesome.
But back to, with that baseball team, eventually pitchers and catchers report. And
I love that.
There's the obvious new with the coach, with Shelty. And LaTroy Hawkins, you're clearly pumped about that, and that's awesome. But what is it? Whether it's just optimism or just appreciating the ability to wipe the slate that was 2024. What does really excite you about turning that page and getting into the Twins again? As Twins fans, you kind of heard a smattering applause. There are a lot of Twins fans in this room, but there are a lot of Twins fans that want a better opportunity. They want a better product in 2026, right?
Yeah.
So. It's just, when you're turning the page, what pumps you up about March and getting into that rhythm again?
I hope this doesn't come across wrong, but a season where there aren't a whole lot of expectations is exciting because we don't know what's going to happen. There's a lot of young players that I'm really excited about. And as tough as it was, y'all have to understand, when I flew into Cleveland the day after the trade deadline, I walked into the clubhouse and I was like, oh, yeah, this is different.
And everyone had to wear name tags. Nice.
Seriously.
Now, luckily, so many of the players that had been brought up to, fill those spots were players already in the organization that I was familiar with. And granted, I know it didn't go the way that everybody wanted to, but even that first week after the trade deadline, when there was that excitement, that pop, I think of Audra Martin. I mean, the kid just was phenomenal the second half of the season, and he probably wouldn't have been given that opportunity to shine had what transpired. So I look at people like that and I get excited for the fact that it is a clean slate. Who knows what's going to happen? It could be tough. Baseball is a grind. I grew up a Cubs fan, y'all. So when I was young, there's always next year was part of my vocabulary.
Really?
It's better than being a White Sox fan, right?
But wait, with the Cubs, it wasn't like Ryan Sandberg, Mark Grace, that group, Jerome Walton.
That was y'all, I'm 40 years old and I still have a Mark Grace poster in my house.
Remember
that was my guy.
With
Sean Dunston?
The animal teeth on his necklace.
Yeah, so I mean, I got used to the grind of baseball. I'm like, oh, okay, well, there's always next year. With the Twins right now, the young talent, the farm system, to me, is exciting. I love that part of baseball, especially with the Saints being across the street. You can watch these players develop here in town and then see them get the opportunity at the big league level, which I think is awesome. And so, yeah, I'm excited. It may be tough. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Last season was really tough. But, you go into a season, everybody does, with no expectations. You never know.
I was listening to you real quick.
Yep.
Like, when you said you're excited for March.
Yeah.
When you're around those people every day, and then it is, like, removed,
Yeah.
It becomes like your community in a lot of ways, and it's not like there's so much downtime where you are just messing around with people, whether it's execs or scouts or media or whatever.
Yeah.
So like you do, I would imagine, or I've always felt this way of like you miss the community that you create with that entire group.
Yeah. And that's one of the reasons that I am actually really excited about Twins or the Wild, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but now our pre and post game show is on the road, which means that I will be traveling with the Wild. I've never traveled for hockey before, so it's different, right? You're gone for a week and only playing 3 games in a week. Whereas baseball, you're working every single day. So that familiarity and getting to know the players even better and getting to talk to the coaches on the plane or on the tarmac or on the bus, whatever, is an element of my job with the Wild that I've never had before. And the thought of having that now is really exciting. And I'm excited to see what I can do with that and make the shows even better and kind of it's like a new challenge. We'll see how it goes, but
the
I'm ready
relationship building process of it.
It's weird.
I remember when FanDuel came up with that idea. It was during the summer because I worked with Kevin Gorg 3-4 days a week at Canterbury Park.
Gorgie, shout out KG.
And KG is kind of so like when Audra does the pre and the post, say it's from if FanDuel had a studio or when it had studios, it would be Wes Walls or it would be, I don't know, Ben Clymer, Mark Parrish, so on. So that would be the analyst, kind of the 1A on the show. Well, Kevin Gorg is that with the road gang. So I have not, just because of football season, some other things. I haven't watched a lot at this stage of the equation, so I don't really know what. It must look great. I mean, being on the road with the pre and the post. Kevin does the between period interviews and stuff like that. But like, what goes into that? Like where you set up stuff like that.
Well, and that's the challenge. I think that, and it's not even just us with the Wild at FanDuel Sports Network North. A lot of the other regionals are having to adapt and make changes like this. I will say, I think the biggest benefit is that you're in the building. When we would do studio shows, it's hard. You can't fake the energy, right? You're in the building and you're getting ready for a hockey game and the sirens and the music and all that. It is a different vibe. So now to be able to do that on the road, I think it's exciting, right? It's very different. You guys know, it doesn't matter what realm of sports broadcasting. There's nothing better than being on site. Or being in Buffalo Wild Wings, Elk River.
For the Friday.
My people.
Football.
My neighbors.
They're digging it. Lastly, and you're going to think I'm joking with this, but I'm not.
Oh, boy.
Audra is a really good singer. Okay? Why didn't you advance your singing career? I mean, like at a younger age, 18, 19, 20, whatever, because you're a really, really good singer.
Thank you. I appreciate it. It's a tough market to get into, or a tough business. I mean, working in sports broadcasting is a tough market and a tough business to crack. I've thought about it. I did some musical theater post when I lived in Atlanta. To me, singing is a fun thing. I don't need to make it my job, right? I can just do it for fun. I don't need to make my whole life based on if I get a gig singing. So,
like doing it for fun at Buffalo Wild Wings, right? Who wants to hear Audra sing?
Who wants 90 seconds of free show?
We don't even need 90 seconds. Can we get 10 seconds?
This isn't fair.
Come on, you got to give us something right now.
Are you being serious?
Yeah.
Tony, what do I usually sing? Queen? Can anybody find me somebody to love?
Hey!
Whoa, it's the morning, y'all. I can't.
Thank you. That was fantastic. We can't wait to watch you.
I hate you, but I love you.
Love you, and thank you very much for coming by. Audra Martin, FanDuel.
Elk River, love you guys. Thanks for having me.
Network North. We'll be right back. Here comes Devin with the cash thing.
The Fan and 2 Minute and Junk Truck want to give you a shot to win some bonus bucks with our national cash contest. Enter the keyword credit at KFAN.com now for your shot at winning. That's keyword credit. Enter it now at KFAN.com.
Lewis is a very hard worker, and he writes for The Athletic and theathletic.com. Here's some of the fruit from Alec's Tree of Knowledge involving the Vikings and the Ravens. Let's start here. We have about 7.5 minutes for this segment. Alec loves Kyle Hamilton. Why?
Yeah, I mean, this guy is a do-everything player. He's got unbelievable instincts. He's athletic. He looks slight, but then he finds his way. You know, he's physical enough. He uses his arm length really well. I said this at the top. 2 weeks ago, the Ravens acquired a safety from the Chargers, Alohi Gilman. What that allowed them to do is move Kyle Hamilton from the safety spot to the box, and it's transformed their defense. I'm not going to act like it's a top 5 unit in the NFL, but they are a very commendable defensive group. And Kyle Hamilton just problem solves like Andrew Van Ginkel. Like, he just finds where to be and is able to be there when he needs to be there. And there's a lot of hype for Kyle Hamilton nationally. Until I watched the film, I'm not sure if I really understood why people hype him the way they do.
The name Andrew Van Ginkel is mentioned from one of Alec's stories during the course of the week. I don't think it was the document, it was the story. Alec wrote, watching Andrew Van Ginkel play is a privilege. And he also wrote, Andrew Van Ginkel's role in containing Lamar Jackson in the pocket will be outsized. I don't know what the outsized part means, but Van Ginkel, I mean, you got him sounding like a cross between Lawrence Taylor and Scott Studwell.
I mean, he's so good. He is so good. Like, Andrew Van Ginkel, it's crazy because you just look at the athletic traits, you might not be like, man, this guy is just a super athlete, but mentally, it feels like he is playing at an entirely different speed than everybody else. He sees things that guys shouldn't or don't typically see. He anticipates where to be in a way that I just don't think many people in this entire league would be able to anticipate. And he just he just makes this defense. What you don't see is he's communicating stunts. He's communicating when to drop. Like, he is doing things that between snaps the cameras aren't trained on him, and he's just able to change the game. So,
okay, now in watching the Vikings defense against the Lions, you watched all the plays, right?
Yeah.
All right. So, do you think this is an envelope pusher, or do you think something Van Ginkel did that led to the Jalen Redmond sack? I can't say I've ever seen it.
The spin.
I mean, if they have players spinning off players to intentionally run into other offensive linemen to free people for sacks, it's about one of the most brilliant things that I've seen. Do you understand what we're saying here?
Yeah, I do. In terms of just finding those matchups and almost the decoy. You're creating traffic.
I mean, he spun off Penei Sewell purposely to crash into Tate Ratledge.
Yes.
To get Redmond. It was unbelievable.
And it was purposeful. It was one of the it was one of the first things I did after I watched the film. I texted a coach and I'm like, are you guys actively doing this?
I thought it was an accident.
Andrew Van Ginkel, by the way, is calling that on the field.
Wow.
So he's
come on.
deciding on the field this is going to work, and then it becomes a Jalen Redmond stunt. It's just playing at an entirely different plane.
And you saw multiple different versions of that with the twists on the other side. You saw Ivan Pace coming free multiple times, Cashman coming free on the blitzing, all the things that happen up front. Van Ginkel certainly an A-topic is part of that. That comes to fruition with 5 sacks on Goff. Now, I want to ask you about how their defensive front's big, dude. Like Matt Abuke is one of the better interior D line guys in the NFL. He's gone, and they've replaced him with a bunch of names that, frankly, I'm not that familiar with.
Travis Jones, John Jenkins.
Yeah, and I don't know much about them, but they're tough man movers. Like, how do we run against these guys?
Yeah.
What kind of task is in front of our O-line?
It's a great question, and it's going to be,
or is it speed to the edge?
I'm of the opinion it's going to be difficult to run in this game, both on the interior and on the edge. I would prefer to make those cornerbacks and Marlon Humphrey and Nate Wiggins tackle in the run game. That would be the preference, but they play the run game since Kyle Hamilton's moved down. And again, guys are going to think I'm making this guy out, but I mean, he really is an unbelievable player. their run defense has really taken a step. So, I really think if J.J. McCarthy can be accurate and get the ball out, they can throw on this group because the edge rushers of Baltimore are not that dynamic. It's David Ajabo, Mike Green, Kyle Van Noy, who's really, really old.
However, because I said this yesterday to Ben Lieber, and I don't like being uninformed, with things like this, so I put time into it last night. I watched the first half of the Ravens and Dolphins because I didn't know who Teddy Buchanan was. I had no idea who he was.
Teddy.
Yeah.
Teddy.
He wears number 40. He's a demon. He is a demon on wheels. Holy cow, is he fast and all over the place. He's their leading tackler.
Well, Roquan, too, has come back, and Roquan Smith looks like the Roquan Smith that got paid like he does. So this is why, broadly, this Ravens team is 3-5, and you just look at the record and you look at some of the advanced stats throughout the course of the year. I don't think those describe or depict the level of challenge that this game really is. That's just how I feel about it. I'm not going to be surprised if the Vikings are very up for this challenge, but it is going to be that in a lot of respects. This Ravens team is just talented.
Alec Lewis, Nordo, Paul Allen, final segment, Buffalo Wild Wings, Elk River after this. Now, closing the Friday football feast, there are a couple of former Gophers who play with the Baltimore Ravens. Rashad Bateman is one of them. He's a wide receiver. And their right guard, I think he's in his fourth year from the University of Minnesota, Daniel Faalele. He's a creature of a human being, just a big man. Didn't really play at all the first 2 years. Has started most, if not all of them, the last couple of years. In Alex prep that he sends us, his Tolstoy, he just laid it out like Daniel Faalele is not very good. What do you mean by that?
I didn't know you were going to just verbatim. Yeah, I just rip
the local kid.
He's doesn't have the most wiggle. He's a massive guy, but I just feel like one-on-one matchups, if you get like a Javon Hargrave on him, you can get to him. So their offensive line. The left tackle, Ronnie Stanley's been there forever, has been a good player, but he wasn't that impressive on film. And then the right tackle, Roger Rosengarten, thought like he was a solid player, but this front can be gettable. And if they go heavy, you got to stop the run, and they're going to try to throw at a heavy like every team in the NFL is trying to do right now. And can you cover? It's going to be interesting.
Can Javon Hargrave, the way PA's laid it out and just kind of going down the road of the week, kind of the idea of as this team has gotten healthy, the way that we lauded Andrew Van Ginkel, like how much that meant maybe to what we saw from a Javon Hargrave against the Kitties. Is this team equipped to play the contained game with Lamar? We can talk about it that this is what they need to do. Probably most teams talk about it. Some are better at it than others. Are we equipped? If we get what we saw out of Detroit, are we equipped to play the contained game on Lamar this weekend?
Yeah, I think they are. Andrew Van Ginkel and Jonathan Grenard are selfless and smart on the edge. And then Jonathan Allen and Javon Hargrave, these guys are disciplined. And they know how to. Javon Hargrave, the same thing. The one thing with Javon Hargrave that went a little under the radar, he exited a game a few weeks ago with a chest injury. And we didn't really talk about it. Then his snaps dip, and everyone, maybe it's performance related.
Wasn't it the Bengals game, in fact? Because it was so lopsided that he didn't come in, and we just kind of brushed it off in the lopsided victory.
Then
honestly, I didn't even know it happened.
His snaps dipped, and some of it may have been performance, but I also have to imagine the performance is probably tied to the injury thing. So, do I think they're equipped for contain? Yes. I have a bigger question of, can the corners and the safeties in coverage be sticky enough on their receiving core? Like that would bother me a little more than the front being able to contain, and both of them are going to be critical.
Well, in closing, hopefully we have time for 30 seconds, is Lamar in his first year, he played 16 games, threw for 1,200 yards. He didn't start all of them, but they used him in all of them. Completion percentage, 51-53. Last year, he's going for 4,000 and change, 66 on the completes. And people are like, well, what changed? Well, he got better personnel around him, A. But B, it's what you wrote in your doc, in my opinion. It used to be he sometimes would run with his eyes down the field. Now, every scramble, his eyes are down the field. He feels the pressure, of the rushers, but he also knows where his guys are to try to dagger you.
Yeah, and this offense...
He's gotten good with the passing.
The offensive coordinator, Todd Monken, was at the University of Georgia and was critical to them becoming the national championship contender that they've become. The Ravens hired him to be the OC, and he's empowered Lamar. Like, they've given him latitude at the line of scrimmage. He makes checks depending on what he sees. So, yeah, Lamar...
Off that layoff against the Dolphins, he was rusty as bleep the first quarter and a half.
He was, and then he came alive kind of down the stretch. It is an immense challenge. And again, if you don't stop Derrick Henry, it becomes
kind of a moot conversation.
It becomes kind of a breaking point. But I expect this to be a dogfight. If the Vikings can get a lead early and get the crowd into it and play from ahead, you probably feel pretty, like this is pretty fun coming out of it. But it's going to be a really tough one.
Talking about guys getting healthy, has Hitman gotten healthy? Because I think about like the way they used Laporta and finding those soft spots specifically early, and Flores shut him down basically after that first drive. But just like Hitman has kind of been ramping himself up in snaps, ramping himself up in productivity. And what we saw on Sunday, like more of Tutu in the mix, battling with all those big physical tight ends. That's something I'm looking at.
Yeah. He looks healthy. He looked healthy in that game. He was blitzing off the edge more than I've seen in a while. So, I'm excited to watch Lamar in person against this Flores defense.
Nice job, boys.
That was fun.
Alec Lewis Nordo, part of the Friday football feast. Hey, the street team there to serve you in second to none fashion. Jared Wells saved the day for those of you here at Buffalo Wild Wings Elk River. We had no sound for a half hour, and then it was booming because he's the round mound of sound. And I'm Paul Allen. God bless all of you. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend, all right? Thank you for coming. Bye-bye.
Today's Paul Allen Show, or listen back to previous show and interviews by going to the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.